Recent satellite imagery has revealed significant developments in the contentious South China Sea, a region long marred by disputes over territorial claims. The latest photographs indicate ongoing island-building activities by China, raising concerns among neighboring countries and international observers alike. These actions are not merely infrastructural, they represent a strategic maneuver that could alter the balance of power in this geopolitically critical area. The images captured in late March 2025 show expanded land formations which are believed to be part of China's efforts to solidify its claims over the South China Sea. A spokesperson from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated these enhancements are vital for our national security and are within our sovereign rights. However, this assertion is met with skepticism from regional players including Vietnam and the Philippines, who also claim parts of the sea, particularly the Spratly Islands. Analysts suggest that these developments are part of a broader strategy by China to bolster its military presence in the region. Recent reports from defense analysts indicate that China has deployed advanced bombers to newly constructed airstrips on these artificial islands, further complicating an already fraught situation. A military expert commented the deployment of military assets to these islands signifies a clear intent to project power and deter any challenges to Chinese interests in the region. The implications of these developments are vast. With the South China Sea being a crucial maritime route for global trade, any escalation in tensions could have far-reaching economic repercussions. The United States, while not a claimant in the dispute, has reiterated its commitment to ensuring freedom of navigation in the area. A U.S. Navy official remarked, "We will continue to operate in the region and support our allies and partners to uphold the rules-based international order." Additionally, the situation is compounded by recent natural disasters that have struck nearby regions. A deadly earthquake affecting Myanmar, Thailand, and parts of China has raised humanitarian concerns, further diverting attention from geopolitical tensions. As nations grapple with the immediate need for disaster relief, the long-term consequences of escalating tensions in the South China Sea may be overshadowed, but they remain a critical issue for regional stability. The international community is watching closely as events unfold. While diplomatic channels remain open, the potential for conflict exists, especially if military confrontations arise from these territorial disputes. Looking forward, the interplay between military posturing, diplomatic negotiations, and regional alliances will shape the future of the South China Sea. As nations navigate these treacherous waters, the need for dialogue and peaceful resolution has never been more pressing. As China's ambitions in the realm of space exploration continue to expand, the nation is witnessing a pivotal shift in its approach to commercial space activities. With two major megaconstellations under construction, 2025 is poised to be a landmark year for China's efforts to establish a dominant position in the global satellite internet market. The Guowang, or National Net megaconstellation, aims to deliver comprehensive global broadband coverage. The first launch occurred in December 2024, deploying 10 satellites into orbits of 11-15 kilometers with an inclination of 86.5 degrees using a Long March 5B rocket. A subsequent launch on February 11, 2025 utilized a smaller Long March 8A rocket to place 9 satellites into lower orbits of 870 kilometers at a 50-degree inclination. The distinct designs of the satellites suggest a dual-pronged strategy. One set targets densely populated regions, while the other seeks global coverage. Despite the progress, the China Academy of Space Technology has not yet disclosed detailed specifications or images of the Guowang satellites, leading to speculation about their potential functionalities beyond commercial applications. The urgency of these projects is underscored by the International Telecommunication Union's deadlines, compelling state-owned China's SatNet to deploy 1,300 satellites by September 2029, a staggering pace of 24 launches per month, escalating to 144 per month by 2032 to fulfill the entire network's goal of 6,500 satellites. In parallel, the Qianfan 1,000 sales megaconstellation backed by Shanghai launched its fifth batch of 18 satellites on March 11, 2025, reaching a total of 90 satellites in orbit. The ambitious target is approximately 600 satellites by the end of this year, with a long-term goal of assembling a network of 14,000 satellites. SpaceSail, the operator of Qianfan, is actively seeking global customers, reflecting a concerted effort to penetrate the commercial satellite market. The Chinese government's support for these commercial ventures is evident in its latest work report, which emphasizes commercial space as a burgeoning industry critical to innovation and high-tech development. This focus marks a significant policy shift, with major cities and provinces now launching action plans to bolster the sector. Provincial governments are aligning funding and policy support with national strategic objectives, paving the way for a more robust commercial space ecosystem. Moreover, Chinese startups like iSpace and Deep Blue Aerospace are making strides in the development of reusable rocket technology. iSpace's recent Series D funding round aims to advance its Hyperbola 3 reusable launch vehicle, targeting its first orbital launch and sea landing attempt by December 2025. Similarly, Deep Blue Aerospace seeks to accelerate its Nebula 1 rocket's development, anticipating an orbital launch in mid-2025. The influx of local investment is a testament to the growing enthusiasm for fostering a vibrant space industry in China. Looking ahead, the full scope of China's spaceflight agenda for 2025 remains to be seen. However, expectations are high for a surge in satellite constellation launches. Historically, the China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation unveils its annual plans early in the year, but this year's announcement has yet to materialize. Last year, China targeted around 100 launches but achieved a record 68, setting a precedent for ambitious goals moving forward. With several successful launches already completed in early 2025, the country has more than doubled its launch count compared to the same time last year. As China's commercial space ventures continue to evolve, they will play a crucial role in shaping the future of global satellite communications. The rapid pace of development and government backing signal an era of intense competition in the space sector, not only for China but also for international players aiming to establish their foothold in this high-stakes arena. As the year progresses, the world will be watching closely to see how these megaconstellations unfold and what implications they hold for the future of connectivity and technology. In the ever-evolving landscape of global economics, China's strategic positioning and policy direction have become focal points for investors and analysts alike. As the world's second-largest economy, China's growth trajectory is not only crucial for its domestic stakeholders but also for international markets seeking opportunities in an increasingly interconnected world. Recent insights from the Brookings Institution shed light on the key drivers of President Xi Jinping's economic policy as the nation embarks on its 2025 objectives. China's ambitious GDP growth target of around 5% for 2025 reflects its commitment to stability amid complex international dynamics. This target, deemed challenging yet achievable, underscores the government's confidence in navigating global economic headwinds. Derek Scissors, an economist at the China Beige Book, noted that despite a recent weakening in economic indicators, the resilience of China's economy remains a critical factor. China has successfully navigated global headwinds before, and its focus on innovation and modernization is likely to be the cornerstone of its future growth. He stated, "The recent National People's Congress (NPC) sessions emphasized the importance of developing new quality productive forces, particularly in sectors like artificial intelligence (AI) and robotics. These domains are expected to drive productivity through innovation, automation, and globalization." China's government has announced a significant increase in its budget deficit amounting to 1.6 trillion yuan, approximately $220.16 billion, aiming to bolster resources that can support economic growth and mitigate external shocks. Such fiscal measures are integral to the country's AI Plus strategy, which aims to empower the economy through technological advancement. China's transition from being the global factory to a leader in innovation is becoming increasingly apparent. The rise of the new trio, electric vehicles, lithium-ion batteries, and photovoltaic products, reflects a shift in export dynamics, replacing traditional sectors like textiles and household goods. Experts predict that emerging sectors related to energy transition, semiconductors, and advanced manufacturing will likely define China's next wave of growth. This transformation not only enhances China's high-tech export capabilities but also presents significant opportunities for multinational companies looking to invest in innovation-driven sectors. As geopolitical tensions rise, particularly in relation to U.S. policy shifts, China has positioned itself as a stabilizing force for global business growth. The nation has reaffirmed its commitment to opening up its markets and fostering an environment conducive to foreign investment. China's market is too substantial for multinational companies to overlook, emphasized Dennis Disput, global managing director of Roland Berger. He highlighted the importance of local partnerships and adapting business models to leverage China's innovation ecosystem for mutual benefit. However, challenges remain, particularly in the realm of consumer confidence and spending. Policymakers recognize the need to shift focus from volume-driven growth to a model that emphasizes value creation. This involves raising productivity to increase disposable income, thereby stimulating consumption and fostering a more sustainable economic environment. Looking ahead, China's economic landscape is poised for continued transformation, with sectors such as automotive manufacturing, biopharmaceuticals, and AI likely to attract significant foreign investment. The path forward will require a concerted effort from businesses and policymakers to optimize strategies and capitalize on the vast potential within China's evolving market. In summary, as China navigates its economic policies for 2025, the interplay of innovation, investment, and globalization will be crucial in shaping its future. The world watches closely, not just for China's growth but for the broader implications it holds for global economic stability and collaboration in the years to come. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's recent visit to the Philippines has marked a significant moment in the U.S.'s strategic posture in the Indo-Pacific region, underscoring a renewed commitment to countering China's assertive maneuvers in the South China Sea. Hegseth's trip, which included a wreath-laying ceremony at the Manila American Cemetery, is emblematic of the Trump administration's efforts to bolster deterrence against perceived threats, particularly from China, while simultaneously reassuring key allies like the Philippines and Japan. During a press conference in Manila, Hegseth emphasized the need for heightened collaboration among allies to address global threats, specifically pointing to the increasing aggression from China. He attributed past U.S. inaction, particularly under the Biden administration, as a catalyst that has emboldened adversaries. "What we're dealing with right now is many years of deferred maintenance of weakness," Hegseth stated, indicating a push to re-establish U.S. strength and deterrence in multiple regions. The backdrop of Hegseth's remarks is the ongoing territorial disputes in the South China Sea, where China claims vast areas that overlap with the claims of several Southeast Asian nations, including the Philippines, Vietnam, and Malaysia. Hegseth reiterated the U.S. commitment to free navigation in these contested waters, urging allied nations to stand shoulder to shoulder to deter conflict. He reassured Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. that the U.S. was not preparing for war but believed that peace could be achieved through strength. Significantly, Hegseth announced plans for increased military cooperation, including a $500 million fund for the modernization of the Philippine military, which was initially introduced by the previous administration but is being reinforced under Trump. The U.S. is set to deploy advanced military assets, including an anti-ship missile system and unmanned vessels, for joint exercises next month, further signaling a commitment to enhancing military readiness in the region. However, the visit was not without controversy. China's defense ministry quickly condemned the U.S.-Philippines military collaboration, labeling the U.S. a predator and warning of potential destabilization in the region. Chinese officials emphasized that U.S. military involvement should not undermine regional peace and security, underscoring the delicate balance of power in the Indo-Pacific. As the geopolitical landscape continues to evolve, Hegseth's visit serves as a reminder of the complexities involved in U.S.-China relations and the broader implications for regional allies. The Philippine Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro echoed the sentiment of preparedness for any potential conflict, stating, "God forbid. We must be prepared to deter any possibility in the future for our mutual defense and the defense of freedom and international law." Looking ahead, the U.S. commitment to strengthening ties with the Philippines alongside ongoing tensions with China suggests that the Indo-Pacific will remain a focal point of U.S. foreign policy. Analysts will be closely monitoring how these developments unfold, particularly in light of China's ongoing military assertiveness and the potential for increased diplomatic and military engagements in the region. In a notable shift in the geopolitical landscape, recent diplomatic activities between China and Europe suggest a possible thaw in tensions that have characterized their relationship in recent years. This diplomatic overture comes as both regions grapple with the ramifications of shifting alliances, particularly in light of the current U.S. administration's foreign policy direction. Analysts are observing these developments closely, noting that the engagements could signify a pragmatic approach to international relations at a time when U.S. allies feel increasingly sidelined. On March 28, 2025, French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot and European Union Trade Chief Maros Šefčovič were in Beijing, where they met with Chinese officials including Foreign Minister Wang Yi. The discussions were multifaceted, focusing on reaffirming commitments to the Paris Agreement on climate change and enhancing cooperation in key sectors such as agriculture, nuclear energy, and aerospace. The regression of certain countries from scientific consensus and their withdrawal from multilateral institutions will only strengthen our determination and actions, remarked Barrot, implicitly referencing the United States. However, the talks were not without their challenges. Barrot highlighted the need for a rapid solution to the tariffs imposed by China on EU brandy imports, which were retaliatory measures against EU duties on Chinese electric vehicles. This exchange underscores the complex web of trade relations that remains fraught with tension despite the overarching desire for collaboration on broader issues. Adding another layer to the diplomatic narrative, Barrot emphasized China's potential role in addressing the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. He urged Beijing to leverage its influence over Russia, advocating for serious and good faith proposals to facilitate negotiations. This call for action reflects Europe's need for a reliable partner in navigating the crisis, particularly as the region contemplates its security architecture amidst a perceived decline in U.S. engagement. The shifting dynamics are further complicated by commentary from former U.S. Ambassador to China Nicholas Burns, who discussed the implications of the current U.S. administration's approach in an interview. Burns asserted that the U.S. is losing influence as it distances itself from traditional allies, stating, "The Chinese are going to seek every advantage." He warned that as the U.S. appears to downgrade its commitments to NATO and European allies, China is poised to exploit these vulnerabilities to enhance its global standing. In a related development, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi is scheduled to visit Russia from March 31 to April 2, where he will engage in discussions aimed at fostering bilateral relations and addressing international concerns, including the Ukraine conflict. This visit follows previous high-level exchanges between Chinese and Russian leaders, further solidifying their partnership against a backdrop of Western scrutiny. As these diplomatic overtures unfold, the potential for a recalibrated China-Europe relationship looms larger. Both sides appear to recognize the importance of collaboration in an increasingly multipolar world, yet significant challenges remain, particularly regarding trade disputes and differing geopolitical priorities. The effectiveness of these efforts will largely depend on how China navigates its relationships with both Europe and Russia, especially in the context of the Ukraine conflict. Looking ahead, the interplay between China and Europe will be critical in shaping the future of international relations. With U.S. alliances under strain, the potential for a more unified European stance on issues such as trade and security could emerge, provided that both parties can find common ground amid their complex historical and political landscapes. As the world watches, the effectiveness of this newfound diplomacy may ultimately set the tone for future global interactions in an era marked by uncertainty and shifting power dynamics.